All right, I'm going to do the Guardian's Cryptic Crossword for today, Wednesday, June 19th. Before I do, I noticed the Guardian has an article on the need maybe for cryptic crossword setters to maybe modernize a little bit, have a little more diversity. Um, so I think there's some good points in the article. It does quote Mark from Cracking the Cryptic. And I think he sees, yeah, there's a need for some change, but I think he's not too optimistic. Then there's some references to the US growing movement of Gen Z crossword constructors. And this guy, Steve Mossberg, writes cryptic puzzles for a US audience. I must try and find some of his work. And then this Paolo Pasco, who writes a cryptic crossword for the New Yorker. I must try that. But yeah, I think this to me is the main point I would agree with, is the barrier to entry. I think a lot more people are coming to cryptic crosswords as seen by the success of Cracking the Cryptic and other channels like David Webb and the Cryptic Mystic. But, there's so much that you have to know that is not general knowledge. It's very specific to the history of cryptic crosswords. Now, I think the reference in the headline about why not Taylor Swift instead of Elvis, I think Elvis is still someone with enormous cultural recognition. But it's when there's a reference to a crossword to some BBC TV presenter from the 1970s or something like that. That I think is maybe, even though the setter may love the clue they've come up with, they should maybe try for some more modern references or well known. But some good anagram of Taylor Swift as a flirty swat, or Presbyterians for Britney Spears. Anyway, I thought it was interesting, and I've certainly made those sort of comments myself in the past. Anyway, with that said, let's get on to today's cryptic, set by Panga Kupu from New Zealand, I think. And so we will probably get some hidden message in Maori written around the grid. Expert Latin speaker leading Northern Italy tour guides. Well, I know from past crosswords that Latin can be abbreviated to L. Not sure what a speaker would be, if it's wordplay, a tweeter or a woofer. Leading Northern might be simply the N. Italy, I suppose could be, I think it can be represented by just I, or is it IT? But yeah, I mean, if the definition is tour guides, I'd expect it to end in S. So I'm thinking maybe the definition is expert. Yeah, that's a tough one. Let's try the downs. When aboard taxi, half of English counties, a more exotic place. Even though I think the definition is going to be an exotic place, even though we have a more, I don't think it's going to be a superlative. I think it's just saying relative to the English county that's being used in the wordplay. When, I think maybe could be a short word like as, and then that could be aboard a taxi, maybe put inside. Oh, yes, so a taxi, the obvious synonym is a cab. So if you put an as inside of a cab and then half of Lancashire, and you get Casablanca, which I think is slightly more exotic than Lancashire. But I've never been to Lancashire, so maybe it is quite exotic. Anyway, that's a great one to get, giving us all those starting letters. So now still not enough for me to get that. Let's do some more downs. Hide cooked meals inside item of furniture. I'm thinking cooked is telling us to anagram meals, and we're going to put that inside a 5-letter item of furniture. So a chair or a table. And it's going to mean hide. Now, is that the verb to hide? I'm wondering if it could be some kind of animal hide. We don't have, well, we have an S. Could the furniture end in KIN and we have something skin? But I can't think of any item of furniture ending in KIN. No. Thin and hungry, disposing of starter. So I think we have to get a 6-letter word for hungry and lose its starting letter, and we will get something for thin. Lithe. No, I don't see that one either. Weakening nerves in the sauna. Half bare. Possibly. Yeah, I'm not sure. Half bare would suggest half of the word bare. But then possibly, could that indicate an anagram? I think the definition is going to be weakening. No. Reminders to look up benefits. I wonder if it could be, well, a double definition, and maybe one is going to be a bit of a stretch, but benefits might be the straight definition, which could be a noun or a verb. And then reminders to look up. Is that some actual something that would remind you to look up? No, don't see it. Seabird circling rocks at sea, finding tropical plant. All right, I think it's going to be a 3-letter seabird circling an anagram of rocks. And then that's going to give us a tropical plant. What's the 3-letter seabird? Auk, is that one? And then what plant can we get? Something palm or something tree maybe? No, I don't think that's going to be it. Okay. Localized pain and ache from this rash. I'm wondering, just because pain plus ache is 8 letters, could localized be an anagram? I don't think so. I don't see how that would work. Yeah. I'm not a fan of splitting an 8-letter word into 2 answers. Although often it turns out to be a compound word. But yeah, I'm not sure about that. All right, let's go back to the crosses. Small boat in rough. So I'm guessing this is going to be an S plus a 5-letter boat. And it's going to mean rough, which of course has many different senses. Is there a type of boat called a cruff? I'm thinking something like scruff, I suppose, could be rough. I'm thinking there is some CR boat. No, not seeing it. reviewed, amount raised to secure medicine. I think reviewed might be the definition. And then it's going to be an amount, maybe backwards, which is going to secure some medicine. Is going to go inside it. I'm wondering about summed up could be reviewed, maybe. I mean, there's different meanings of reviewed, but we do have medicine. Could that be simply med? Ah, yes. So actually, it's not a word for amount backwards. It's amount is a sum, and raised is up. So I'm fairly confident of that one. How about European city to repay, backing, shifting a European position? Guessing it's going to be a 6-letter European city. And maybe we have to think of a word for repay, but then put it backwards, and then within that move the position of the letter E. So I think that's why the question mark is there. Shifting a European position is a fancy way of saying move an E. There's so many 6-letter European cities. Yeah, I think I need a letter for that. Tom, sadly, has ugly guffaws. Well, I'm thinking of belly laughs, and I can see, I think the last part is an anagram of has ugly, so that is sadly telling us to anagram has ugly, which is 7 letters, so that means we need 4 for Tom. And I do have in mind, and this goes back to that article that I've seen from other crosswords, that a bell, or that there's a bell called Tom, or is it Tom as a cat and there's a cat called Bell? Let me no, let's just wait for 15 squared to explain that one to us. All right, detest, sort of violent crime linked to soldiers. Well, I can think of a 5-letter word for detest beginning with A, which would be abhor. I think a violent crime, I know there's GBH in Britain, grievous bodily harm, but maybe there's an ABH, might be a more modern version of that, because I think GBH I heard about probably in the 1970s. Maybe it's aggravated bodily harm. And then OR I think is something Rangers or some army acronym anyway. All right, most devious twist I found in exam. I'm going to guess the most devious is the definition, and found in exam, we're going to put something inside of test. And probably with that I, so a four-letter word for twist and the I, and they're both found in exam. Although, of course, the T might be here, and the four-letter twist might begin the word. Most devious. I do want to say twistiest, but it's not that. No, we'll come back to it. A neurotic drunk on this. Well, drunk is frequently an anagram indicator, so a neurotic has 9 letters. I'll give the anagram helper a try, but I'm feeling that there's just going to be too many possibilities. I think it must be an and lit clue where the wordplay suggests the definition that it's probably some kind of alcoholic drink. Oh, Cointreau. Cointreau. Do I know how to spell Cointreau? Cointreau. Do I know how to pronounce it? Yeah, I think Treau. That looks right. Yeah, I'll go along with that and we'll find out later if I'm wrong. So now our hide, cooked meals inside item of furniture. I'm wondering if it's camel's hair. So indeed it is an anagram of meals inside of a chair in this case. All right, how about one across? Can I see a word for expert? Are tour guides, or maybe even just simply guides? I think guides is more likely. I'm not seeing any expert. Cacophony, cochineal, but guides maybe something like not cocoons. Of course, there has to be an L. No, not seeing it. And how about thin and hungry? Yes, so hungry is greedy. Oops, I do that again. So without the starter, it's reedy, which is one way to describe somebody thin. And yeah, looks like we're going to get some kind of anagram. I wonder if maybe it's a medical condition for weakening nerves. Now, let's go carry on with ones we haven't looked at. Russia begins transforming farming. I'm thinking it's an anagram of Russia begins, as unlikely as that seems. And it's going to mean farming, but there is a question mark. Makes me think it's some funny kind of farming. Oh, yeah, I think it's going to be agribusiness. Yeah, we have a lot of S's, so I can see why they put the question mark in there. All right. Gosh, maybe this is twirliest or twistiest. Well, maybe twirliest. Twist. Yeah. Whirliest. No. Now let's carry on. One values the skillful male version of erotic art. All right, interesting clue. I'm wondering if it's going to be somebody who values, as in an expert on antiques or property, something like an assayer, the skillful male version of erotic. So maybe some anagramming is going on. Ah, yeah, maybe M for male. Oh, maybe it's one values the skillful. I don't know. But then with an anagram of erotic art. Let's try. Shuffle. Um, oh, there is a meritocracy where people with, I suppose, merit are valued. And so is there a meritocrat? I can see that must be a word, not one I've seen before. But yeah, clever way the definition is hidden. One values the skillful. All right. Unable to deliver, sonnet gutted, long to pen one line on reflection. Well, I'm thinking sonnet gutted is ST, and since we already have a T there, does this begin with ST? The rest of the clue is wordplay, and therefore unable to deliver is the definition. Long, a word for long maybe is going to pen, IL, one line, but maybe it's all, then the rest is put backwards. I am wondering about sterilized. Oh, yes, we have desire. And I'm not sure which I belongs to desire and then which belongs to one line. But I'm thinking since all of this is on reflection, this must be one line here, and this top I is part of desire. All right. How about sportsperson's captain never showing pressure? Well, pressure is P. And another word for a captain is a skipper. And if you drop the P's, you get a skier, which is a sports person, not the most obvious sports person. I think we generally think of the sports played with a ball, but I think that must be right. How about old parrot, cradling wing, one seeks assessment? Oh, I'm wondering because of that I'm immediately thinking the first word ends in ing. And so maybe something for old parrot, maybe even beginning with an O, and then a parrot, which of course can be the bird, but could also be to repeat. Cradles the word wing. One seeks assessment. Yeah, I'm finding it hard to get two letters in between the O and the W. So the O may not be right. But one seeks assessment. Something goal, something tool, fool. No, not seeing it. Let's go back to the Downs. Reason, Scottish island, line brought in charge. Okay. I always fear these Scottish island ones. There's so many of them. I'm thinking reason is going to be the definition and something to do with rationality, or maybe rationale could be your reason. Oh, I do see we have Iona. That's one of the Scottish islands I do know. Line. So Iona plus L is brought in rate. Now, why does rate mean charge? Yeah, I don't quite get that part. Iona and L brought in. Oh, yeah, rate. Yeah, rate as in to judge something, or rate. Oh, yeah, sorry, it's a financial. So a charge for whatever might be the rate, the rate you pay. Yes, okay. Oh, and so the O was right. So what could this parrot be then? That's going to be 6 letters ending in O something L. And then what's, yeah, I still have this problem of getting from the O to the W. Maybe maybe the W is not right. All right, let's try some more. Oh, there's actually only one more down. The others are continuations. Former colony, Australian, cheers being claimed by the Netherlands. I'm thinking it's going to be a former colony. Was Ghana a colony? Um, then maybe it's an Australian word for cheers. And it's going to be claimed by the Netherlands, makes me think we're going to surround it with NL. So maybe that G isn't right. Yeah, I'm not sure about that anymore, which means wing is probably wrong too. So yeah, there must be, oh, wing of course could be left or right, I think. Hmm. Oh, and it can also be to wing something is to nick. Um, when you shoot at something, if you wing it, you just barely hit it. One seeks assessment. Oh, an opinion. Oh, an opinion is a wing. Um, Now, why is parrot a pole? Let me look that up. Of course, Polly is a very common name for a parrot, so maybe it's just a diminutive version of Polly. There's nothing that suggests the parrot is being shortened, just old parrot. Yeah, we're almost at the 30-minute mark, so let me just click the check this button. It is correct. So now we do have, I think we're going to have N and L. I'm thinking of Natal in South Africa is was a, well, it is a former colony, but then that would leave ATA. Oh no, Australian is A. Okay, and cheers in England, I suppose when you thank somebody for something, you might say cheers or you might say ta. All right. Let's try this one. Modern area in old yard, not giving you a turn. I'm immediately thinking of seesaw, but yeah, with the question mark, I'm wondering if it's something in a playground or a yard that doesn't give you a turn like a roundabout. But then, how is modern area in old yard? No, not seeing it. Indicates surprised comments about backing tracks. I think the definition is going to be indicates. We're going to have some, probably an exclamation when you're surprised, like wows or something, about a word for tracks that's going backwards. I'm wondering if it could be ruts, and so we would have, um, and then yeah, gestures could be indicates. You gesture towards something as a way of indicating it. And G's, yes, gee whiz. All right. How about look? Big Parisienne runs to the back. I'm wondering if Parisienne is just simply telling us to use a French word, and so big would be grand. Oh, maybe we have to use the feminine grande with the E at the end, and then, hold on, if you move the R for runs to the back, oh, you're left with gander. Yes, that's a word I don't hear much anymore. Take a gander at something, take a look. If you still regularly use the word gander, please let me know. Finally, I criticized keeping oxygen separated. So I think it's going to be a word meaning separated. And we're probably going to start with an I and then a word for criticized, and it's going to keep or surround an O for oxygen. And yes, if you slate something, you criticize it. And we end up with isolated. Oh, now 8 down. For this localized pain and ache from this rash ends in a G. Ah, yes. Rash in this case is running into something quickly without thought or sizing up the situation. If you run headlong, I'm thinking then localized pain is head, and to ache for something is to long. I'm not sure about that head part being defined as localized pain. But let's check this. It is correct, but that's very, I don't even know how to describe it. I think maybe there's some and-litish qualities to it, that if you do something headlong, which maybe literally means falling head first, you will end up with localized pain and ache. But then even the definition is so vague, just saying this rash. And then why is it broken into 2 words? Some mysteries are never solved, I think. Anyway, anything coming to me on La Cucaracha? No. And our small boat, well, it's not the scruff I thought it was. Oh, yeah, there's some boat ending in TCH or just CH? Yeah, not seeing it. Our European city now ends in an A. Vienna, but I don't see how shifting the. Oh, of course, it does have to go backwards as well. Um, to repay an annive. I don't think that's a word. All right, we'll come back to that one. So this isn't a seesaw, okay? Modern area in old yard. Not giving you a turn. Well, I presume the starting O is old, and then we're going to have a yard, which could be YD. And then we're going to put a modern area inside that. So I think that A is probably the area, and then well, can yard simply be Y? Modern is new. So, one-way street. I suppose if you come to an intersection with a one-way street, it will only allow you to turn left or right, so it's not giving you the other turn. Is that how I should read that? Anyway, 7 down. This is our tropical plant. A seabird circling rocks at sea. Is it something fern? Yeah, I'm thinking it's not literally going to be an anagram of rocks because with that E there, I think it's going to be very hard to fit in. Yeah, impossible to fit rocks in side of a word for a seabird. Oh, so what's a seabird ending in N? Yeah. Very tricky. All right, here we have weakening nerves. We need 12 letters. These saunas 8 plus half of bear, and then maybe you have to anagram in the sauna. So let's try the anagram helper. Of course, I don't know which half of bear to use, but let's try the BA. Oh, we have a lot of A's. All right, and it's going to be, I wonder, yeah, if it is going to end in ENIA and be some medical condition. What is the prefix for diseases of the nerves? Yeah, so I'm thinking it is going to be the RE, and it's going to be let's do the anagram helper again. In the sauna yeah, neurasthenia, I think. I'm going to make liberal use of the check this button. It is correct. Yeah, I'm not sure if I've heard of neurasthenia. Maybe I have. Oh, so this does begin with a T, so I think that's the T from test. And we need a four-letter word for twist, and the second letter is going to be an I. Most devious. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. All right, I think it's time I turn to my old friend wordplays.com, where you put in the letters you have. I think this will be a good one. And it will. Oh, sorry, for a moment I thought there I had chaperone. Let me just check my camel's hair. Oh, it's right. So is there some other word like chaperone that is a tour guide? I'm not seeing anything. Well, this is a new one on me, so I think I was very justified in using word plays. Um, Cicerone, well, I'm sure that's not the Italian pronunciation. Looks like, yeah, you don't pronounce the E at the end in English anyway. And it is a guide. And the derivation, according to Merriam's, is from Cicero. So let's see, how does this work? Oh, there's no L. Oh, I think the expert Latin speaker might be Cicero, who was known as an expert orator. Leading Northern would be N, I suppose. So yeah, I think we're going to have to rely on word plays to exactly decipher how that one works. If you already knew this word Cicerone, congratulations. All right, let's try the small boat and rough. Yeah, let me look for maybe boats might be the, if I could think of, I think I'm thinking of a curragh, an Irish boat, but I'm sure there must be some other ones. I think the one I was trying to think of earlier was a ketch, and if you put the S in front of it, so rough here is, I think, a verb, maybe to sketch something in, to rough it in. Although I suppose you could also have it as a noun, a sketch, a rough. He produced a rough, maybe. All right. So now, oh, yeah, so I'm thinking reminders are keepsakes. And let's see how the rest is to look up benefits. I don't understand that. No. To look up benefits. No, I don't see that at all. Now our seabird and the tropical. Oh, I'm thinking the seabird is a tern. So, yeah, so then maybe it is a fern. Oh, maybe there is a short word for rocks at sea, and it's not an anagram indicator. Tropical plant, what would that be? S-T something, fern. No, I think I'm going to have to use word plays again to finish this one off. Oh, of course, rocks at sea, a reef. And so you get a tree fern. Now, I can't say I've ever heard of that, but I'm sure it exists. All right, just two left. Ooh, so now Geneva, surely. Yes, to repay is to avenge, but that backwards, and the first E, when you write it backwards, moves forwards, so shifting a European position. All right. Oh, trickiest, of course, now that I have the T. And yes, a rick of hay, I think, has a twist in it as opposed to a haystack. I think you give the hay a twist and it stands up. All right, let's check all. Did it? Oh, I think it must be the plural. Yes, so uh, got one wrong there. Uh, so then I think it's the first letters of Northern Italy. So Cicero plus Northern Italy leaders gives us, and of course the definition was plural tour guides. I should have spotted that. All right, let's head over to 15 squared for a quick look. All right, today's blog is by Menehi, Fun Slower Solve. There is a Maori word hidden, e porangi, meaning source, and now I suppose modern days it's also being used for internet. Yeah, Cicero plus ni from northern Italy. Belly laughs. A tom is a type of bell, yes. So I think I've seen that before. I couldn't exactly remember what it was, but somehow they were linked in my mind. Now, I think that's the type of crossword lore you need to pick up that is valid. You just learn these things over time. Anyway, but there are some others that are a bit of a stretch. So ABH is actual bodily harm, okay. Opinion poll is just given as a parrot, okay. And one way, yeah, Manehi is not explaining how the definition fits, which is what I was wondering about. Then on the downs, peak is look, which goes up. And sakes, benefits, I suppose like for our sakes means for our benefits. Okay, I see that now. And then 16, yeah, just rate as charge. I took Tom as Bell, the actor. Okay. Yeah, there's just a few I found a little tricky, particularly the tour guides need to try and remember that Cicerone. But yeah, there's some other of the definitions, but I often find they're sort of coming at an oblique angle to the word. They don't want to really give it to you too directly, otherwise I suppose it would be too easy. Anyway, thanks everyone for watching and have a wonderful day.